Since 1999, the Community Outreach Program has worked through partnerships to nurture relationships and provide supports in neighborhoods and communities for children and their families experiencing low income. Here is the story of a family who has been impacted by this program.
It was a lot of little things that made a huge impact. Like a couple years ago, the outreach worker helped me get a winter coat and a pair of winter boots. And that was the first time since my boys had been born in the winter time that I had both winter boots and a winter coat. So it may have seemed like a small thing, but for me, that was like the first winter in over 6 years that I didn't have to wear running shoes or a hoodie, because you make a lot of sacrifices as a parent, and unfortunately sometimes when you're in a lower income you make sacrifices you shouldn't have to, whether it be warm clothes or food or things like that. So a lot of the help that the outreach worker can provide, it means a lot. Well, at the time, like I was married, I was working part-time, my husband was working. But even though we were both working, we were still struggling very much financially. He had just gone through a job loss, so he took a pay cut when he got another job. And then eventually I ended up losing my job as well. So even though we both had an income at one point, we were still struggling financially, trying to keep on top of the house and with the boys and things like that. So that's how we started using the outreach. But then as we went through different life things, the outreach was just an amazing support. If we needed help with groceries or bus tickets to go somewhere, we were able to go see an outreach worker for that. She kind of became like a safe person for me. I was able to go to her with a lot of very personal problems I was going through. I eventually got divorced, so she was very supportive, helping me through that process. Issues with my mental health as well. If I was very down or depressed, I can go to her and actually openly talk to her about that. So I really liked how I felt very safe, very comfortable. Everything there was very confidential. So it became like a safe place for me to go to, someone I could talk to when I didn't really have a lot of other people. When I first started seeing the outreach worker, they were about 2 and 5. So she would help with even small things like getting them a snowsuit for the winter is not something we can necessarily afford, so we could get help with that. Help with groceries. As my bigger guy got older, he wanted to get into baseball and sports, and that wasn't something that we can afford on our own. So I was able to go meet with the outreach worker, and she could help me with programs that could cover the cost, so I could send him to baseball and extracurricular sports. It definitely had a lot to do with his confidence. He usually can be very shy and very reserved, but when he's on the field, he becomes very confident, very comfortable. He's very passionate, like outside of playing baseball. He's out in the field practicing. It's a really good way of giving him something to focus on, being around other kids that share similar interests and make new friends. So it's definitely had a really positive impact on him. She sat down and did some research with me because he really wanted to get into wrestling. So we were able to find a wrestling league in the city that he can go to once he's old enough. So even if he didn't have conventional interests, she still sat down and tried to find something that he would be interested in. Yeah, I've definitely made a lot of progress. I still have my rough times here and there, but definitely between the medication and doing therapy groups and seeing my psychiatrist, it's like a balance of different things, but it definitely has been helping and making a lot of progress. In the last 6 months alone, I got hired at the community center, which was really exciting. I was actually volunteering there for about 3 years before I got hired. I was very nervous about applying for it, because that was like a big source of my anxiety, is stepping out of my comfort zone. But again, with everybody's support, I was able to apply, and I got the job, which I was really excited about. There was over 250 applicants. So I was really excited about that. I'm the administrative assistant, so I do a lot of like the office work, kind of supporting all the other staff with any tasks they need. I also publish our quarterly newsletter. I work on our website. So I get to do a lot of things using a lot of skills that I love. I also get to help clients that come in, which is amazing, because a lot of clients come in with similar problems that I've been in, whether it's divorce or being homeless or mental illness. So I like that, you know, using the different resources we have, I can actually help these people, which is really awesome. Yeah, I've had a lot of positive things happening in the last little while. It's been great.